Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchel Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and this show is being filmed January 9th when we went live for the breaking news of the Las Vegas Raiders firing GM Tom Telesco. If you're like, the Raiders fired Tom Telesco, you definitely need to subscribe. You definitely need to turn on those notifications. If you don't know, we're also going to be live this week. And depending on when you watch this video, we're going to be live for Penn State, Notre Dame tonight. Make sure you decide to pull up and show up. If you're watching this on a later date, we're also going to be live for Texas and Ohio State. We're also going to be live for Texans and the Chargers. And we're going to be live for the Bills up against the Broncos. It's FDEN, FLAC, and let's have some fun watching some college football. Let's go to Larezla Natania, If Ben Johnson gets hired, who would you say is the perfect OC and DC to pair with him? I think personally, one of my favorite candidates out there would be Pleasant. He is, I believe, right now with the Los Angeles Rams. But to be real with you, I don't care who we bring in at OC. A DC like Robert Saleh, I'm not going to lie, would be a very intriguing person to bring in, though they are interviewing him for a head coaching gig. But Johnson's going to be the one calling the shots on offense. Johnson's going to be the one calling plays. So I would believe Johnson would look for somebody at OC that he thinks can handle a lot of other behind-the-scenes work, can also do a lot of magic, potentially with a quarterback. But if Ben Johnson gets hired, I'm going to go nuts. And if y'all want Ben Johnson to get hired by the Raiders, spam BJ down below. Let's go to Slaughterproof. I'll see you guys here 2 years from now, doing the same video about a coach and GM being fired again. Can Mark just step down and let everyone else lead the team? Why would he step down if he knows he's going to be making a lot of money? And I mean a lot of money. Also, Diana Rossini, speaking of Ben Johnson, tweeted out, I still think the biggest win for the Raiders going for them right now is Ben Johnson agreed to interview with them. Thanks to Tom Brady. A lot of smoke around Ben Johnson, man. Let's go to Prison Mike. Love this name, Prison Mike. No Shador, get Justin Fields. I know Justin Fields has been a name that we've brought up before, but the Raiders randomly firing Tom Telesco, and it seems like right now is going to be a really big and aggressive offseason. I don't think that Justin Fields is going to be the swing that the Raiders are looking for. I would say, Telesco has been somebody who has not liked to trade up in the past. I could see the Raiders trying to get aggressive. I would say Shador is more likely than Fields, but if you miss out or if you don't think you're going to be able to go up and get Shador, I am okay with them bringing in Fields in the offseason at like $10 million. But again, don't love it. Let's go to Pedro. Do you think Maxx is getting traded? I knew I was going to get this one simply because a lot of rumors going on around Maxx Crosby right now. And the firing of Antonio Pierce, I know Maxx didn't love. The firing of Tom Telesco, I do not know what Maxx thinks about that. But here's the question, and I'm going to ask you guys this one, and then I'm going to put it up on the show, and I'm going to give you guys like my full answer on it. So how about this? Will Maxx Crosby be traded this offseason? I want you to give me a yes or no down below. You're about to get it with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. My answer coming up here in just a moment. I am going to say that I believe Maxx Crosby is a Raider this offseason. And that's just based on my gut telling me right now. The reason why I am saying that is because when you randomly fire a guy like Tom Telesco, that tells me that this is going to be a team that goes all in. That's what Maxx Crosby wanted. Maxx wants the Raiders to go all in and prove to him that they're going to try to actually win football games this season. If they land a quarterback, Maxx is going to stay. If they tell Maxx that they have a plan in place and that no matter what they're going to get a QB, Maxx is going to stay. The most important thing, though, might actually be, besides putting together a good roster all around him, Maxx does want a new contract. He's got $0 million guaranteed on those 2 final years of his deal. He also has 3 void years on his deal. A few weeks ago, I did a show based on Maxx and the trade. The possibility of Maxx being traded is more real than ever. I also put 2 different contract ideas in there. I believe he's going to be looking for $35 million per year, which makes him the highest paid edge in the NFL. And I think the Raiders need to try to get that deal done because I also think Myles Garrett could be getting some new money coming in here soon. If you want to join the Raiders Sport family, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and I want you to always be interacting with us, whether it's a live show, whether it's a show that goes out on a later date, but I also want you to hit that notification bell. I want you to try to be a real one for daily Raiders videos all day, every day. You're not always going to agree with me, and I don't want you always to agree with me. I don't always agree with my best friends. I don't always agree with my family, and I definitely don't always agree with Alex, even though I love her. But I hope that you guys love me too, and that's what it's all about. It's all love here, healthy conversations, and if you want to have healthy conversations every day around the Raiders, make sure you're subscribed. Let's go to Nate May. It's safe to say the only defensive player we are bringing back is Spillane. New scheme, new era, and I think Jacoby Myers is better than Tay. F him. I would say that I'd rather pay Jacoby Myers $10 million than have Devontae Adams at his current salary. That I totally agree with. Depending on what kind of offense you want to run, like Jacoby is a very underrated receiver, just had 1,000 yards for the first time in his entire NFL career. But I do think the Silver and Black are going to try really hard to bring back Robert Spillane. Max really wants him to come back. And, like little things, like Spillane wants to be a Raider. I got a pretty good connection down here in Dallas that's friends with Spillane. And just the other day on Instagram, on Spillane's Instagram, his wife has a Raiders helmet on, and they're like next to their baby. And they're taking videos of it. Like, to me, that's one of those things where I'm going to be honest, if I didn't want to play for an organization, or if I hated the team that I was on, I wouldn't put the helmet that I wear, that I rock, on my fiance's head. Like, if I hated Chat Sports, I wouldn't give Alex a Chat Sports t-shirt. Alex has 10 Chat Sports t-shirts. Why? Because I love the company, and I think it's different when you get your significant others involved. So seeing the fact that Spillane put a Raiders helmet on his wife, I think tells me, and it's, again, minute details. But I like those minute details, and that's why I want Spillane back. Let's go to Joe Cool. Would you make a trade for Joe Milton if we fail to land a quarterback in the draft? He looks solid. To be real with you, I think Joe Milton would be a 7th-round quarterback, again, even in this year's class. I don't think he's a good QB. He got to go up against a lot of backups, and that's why they ended up winning that football game. It's like people are like, oh, Bo Nix played really great against that final game against the Chiefs. The Chiefs rested all their starters, and they won 38-0. You know what I'm saying? Joe Milton, not a good quarterback. He's a worse Anthony Richardson. Worse athlete, worse QB. John Phillips, Sanders is trash and only has looks because of his dad. Start looking at Milroe, who will be a better option. I think comparing both of these quarterbacks is almost unfair to both of them because the styles that you would run are completely different. And if you have a head coach like Todd Monken and want to be a more physical running team and want to run an offense with a guy like Ashton Genty, then yeah, I think Milroe could be a better fit in that style of offense. On top of that, you're not going to have to draft Milroe in round 1. I don't even know if Milroe is going to go in round 2 if I'm being 100% honest, where Sanders is going to be a round 1 pick. It really comes down to head coach and overall offensive fit. You can't do what McDaniels did and say, I'm going to force Jalen Milroe to play in an offense that's built for a guy like Joe Burrow. Good teams don't do that. You build around the players that you end up getting. We got a few more questions coming in here in just a moment. But before we get into them, though, huge shout out, and it's always love to our sponsor here, Game Time. I love Game Time, and I think you guys will too. The number one place to watch sports and the number one place to get all of your tickets this season. Game Time is focused on bringing people together in 2025 and creating lasting memories. I always say that you might not remember the score, but you're always going to have those memories, which is why I love spending my money on sporting events. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste money and time searching through thousands of tickets. What I love about using the Game Time app is that you get the lowest price guaranteed on any ticket or any event, all-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer that you wait to the game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. That's CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. And if you don't know what time it is, look at your watch, look at your microwave, look at your wall clock. I guarantee it says this. It's game time. Let's go to Freddie Garcia. Would you trade Crosby for J.J. McCarthy and Vikings first-round pick if new coach wants a young quarterback? Here's the problem with what you want there. That's not going to happen. I know the way we value Maxx Crosby is not the way that every single NFL team values Maxx Crosby. I would say this would be more of a straight-up trade than just a trade overall, because I actually think if the Vikings were to move on from McCarthy, based on the way Sam Darnold played last week, based on a lot of the people that I talked to, like if Darnold goes out there and struggles again on Monday, you could probably forget the chances of going out and getting McCarthy. But I think if you want a McCarthy for Crosby, it would probably be a straight-up Crosby for McCarthy trade, which I'll be real, that I don't want to do. Like, I want to be able to hang on to Maxx and still be able to go out and get a quarterback, because if you're going to have just win, baby, commitment to excellence, I still want to have the most important player on our team, and I think that would actually be selling them a little bit low, because the Vikings aren't going to give you their first-round pick and the quarterback they draft at 10 for a defensive end. That won't happen. Let's go to Cadillac Jack. Mitch, the Raiders don't want Vrabel. They don't even have an interview set up for him yet. So reminder, I am recording this video on Thursday, January 9th. I'm going to be real. I'm probably going to push this video out on Saturday before some of the playoff games go out. If Vrabel's already been hired by another team, it is what it is. But the important thing to know is this. The Raiders do not have to submit an interview request. They have submitted an interview request for Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Todd Monk, and all these other guys. But because Vrabel's contract expired with the Cleveland Browns, he's allowed to go interview with anybody. And you don't even really have to tell anybody that you're doing it. Vrabel is interviewing with the Patriots today on Thursday. If he doesn't take a job, and I don't know if he's going to be able to take a job right away again. You got Rooney Rule, you got a lot of other things going on. But I will say this, like, the Raiders are interested in Vrabel. He's been the front runner. And I think when they fire Tom Telesco, I think it's also them trying to show Vrabel or whoever the new head coach is, hey, we are the only spot right now where it is head coach, general manager. That's a little bit of a cherry on top compared to New England. Let's go to Malachi. Will the Raiders do an owner GM type of rule now and not bring in a new GM? I don't know what the Silver and Black are going to do. Like, I think Tom Brady is going to have a lot of say, and I think whoever that head coach is going to come in he's going to have a lot of say. But whoever the head coach, GM is, if there is no GM, it could be something that could be interesting, and it could be a little bit of a way of a loophole for Mark to kind of get out of, instead of paying another GM, and you're already going to pay another head coach, can I save a little bit of money and just pay Tom Brady, pay his head coach a little extra money, and not worry about the middleman and a GM? Cameron Sproul, what's up, my brother? Get a 1-year stopgap for next year, and then we will be able to draft our version of Brady in the next draft. Hashtag Aller or hashtag Manning. I'll tell you this, Drew Aller scares the absolute hell out of me in terms of the NFL. I don't think he's even close to being ready. And I know a lot of people say Arch Manning, and maybe you meant to put, Arch Manning instead of Aller, Drew Aller, the QB from Penn State, and Manning. But a lot of people that are close to Manning, I mean, he could stay in college until 2027. Like, the Manning family, they've already come out and said, like, they wanted him to go play with Steve Sarkisian. They wanted him to get a good education overall. Because you got to remember, Arch's dad, he got injured, like, severely when they were in high school, and he was unable to play football. And he always talks about the importance of being able to go get an education and having a backup plan. The Manning family is not hurting for money, and they want Arch to be able to develop, because here's the thing. If Arch comes out in 2026, first overall pick. If Arch comes out in 2027, first overall pick. I think Arch knows deep down that no matter what, whenever he wants to come out, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. And this is also going to start turning into a topic that I think people got to start considering. When you got schools like Texas, Alabama, Georgia, these boosters, Ohio State, that have the deepest pockets ever, I think it's only a matter of time until like a school like Texas goes, hey, Arch, I'll pay you $20 million to stay another year at Texas in 2027 instead of going to the NFL draft. Arch would make more money at Texas then. Texas makes more money. I'm telling you, there were rumors that Ohio State was going to pay Marvin Harrison Jr. last year $18 million, and he's a wide receiver. These quarterbacks in college are going to start making stupid amount of money. Let's go to Will. Rumor is Ben Johnson is doing a virtual interview. Is that true? If so, doesn't that seem like a bad thing for us? He's doing multiple, and I mean multiple virtual interviews. You got to remember, he's still this is not really his off week, but they're planning for the playoffs. Like, they're prepping, and he is the hot commodity. Like, in today's day and age, I wouldn't fly somewhere to do an in-person interview unless I was serious. I would do a virtual interview with all of my candidates, and then I would pick a few of my favorites, and then I would make that trip out there, go meet them, face-to-face, hand-to-hand. But the fact that the Raiders were able to get Ben Johnson in the door, for everybody out there going, oh, I don't like Tom Brady, this and that, it's already been reported The only reason why Ben Johnson's taken that interview, according to Diana Rossini, is because of Tom Brady. If Tom Brady's not in the works with Mark Davis and we are in this current situation, Ben Johnson doesn't even show up at the door. Let's go to Jay Rader, 24. Do you think Patrick Graham is leaving for another job? I don't know if it's that he's leaving for another job or if he's just not going to be retained. You got to remember, he doesn't have a contract right now with the Raiders. Like, he's technically a free agent, you know? Like, he can go interview for Jacksonville. He can go interview in Cincinnati for that defensive job. I will admit, I always said, like, I think that Patrick Graham was going to go to Cincinnati, but I don't know if that's going to be the case after some stuff that I heard. The Bengals want somebody that has AFC North experience, and I was told by a good source that they are looking at the defensive coordinator for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I can't think of his name right now, but you're going to get to see him tonight if you're watching this live. Will Patrick Graham be the Raiders DC in 2025? I actually hope so. Like, I think Patrick Graham is a phenomenal coach. I really, really do. And there's a reason why he's the defensive coordinator and he's getting head coach looks. There's a reason why Antonio Pierce is fired, and he wouldn't get, like, there wouldn't be a single NFL team that would interview Antonio Pierce to be their defensive coordinator. Like, and we were winning games on defense because of Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham was a much better coach than Antonio Pierce. And I'm not afraid to say it now because I said it back then, and I will continue to say it. Patrick Graham was much better than Antonio Pierce. And if we lose PG, like, my biggest fear was that we kept Antonio Pierce, we kept our coaching staff, and then we lost Patrick Graham because I almost would have told you just get ready for the number 1 overall pick then. So type S, type L, what do you think is going to happen with PG? I do unfortunately think he's going to be leaving the Las Vegas Raiders.